What's up, everybody? I just wanted to pop in here real quick and make a fun little video of my top 35 games of all time. And of course, if you like these videos, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. My name is JT, so without further ado, let's kind of get this underway. As you can see, I already got a big list of 35 games loaded up here. And they range from pretty much everything being on the Switch and the PlayStation 3 generation. I got a couple that were from like the GameCube and the DS and the 3DS and the Game Boy Color with some of the different Pokemon games, Kirby Air Ride, of course, Sonic Adventure. But I kind of wanted to do this in a very different way. Like these games definitely have like a certain impact on I won't even say like a period of my life, kind of, but also just overall, like which ones I had the most fun with, like in general. So the way I wanted to start this out was, of course, like you got to have your Mount Rushmore, so your top four. And when I was thinking about my top four games, no, Zelda and Xenoblade do not consist of my top four, even though I really do love those franchises a lot. I just wanted to go down like the list of one, what games do I think are the best games on this list, and two, like what did I have the most fun playing and why did I have the most fun playing those games. So us look at my list here. Breath of the Wild was the first game I thought about, and so obviously that deserves some mention. But in all honesty, Tears of the Kingdom is a better game. So I was having a hard time when I was thinking about this. Do I like swap Tears with Breath of the Wild? And I think I'm going to. So let's go ahead and move Tears into the number one spot. So Tears of the Kingdom takes number one for me. What comes after that? Do I want to go one of the Xenoblade games or something else? And when I think about like a game that I truly enjoy playing and I got the most enjoyment out of and something I've put a lot of hours into on this list, in all honesty, I'm gonna like this is gonna rub some people the wrong way, but I think I'm gonna go Super Smash Brothers Brawl as my overall number two. And the reason why is because out of all the Smash Bros. Games, it's one of the worst to be completely honest, but it's one that I can like vaguely remember and just remember the enjoyment I got out of that game with not only, friends, but family members as well. And I probably logged the most time in Brawl versus I would say even Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate. I honestly don't play a lot of Smash Ultimate. I own it and I dabble in it from time to time, but just the older I've gotten, it's really hard to like sit down with a lot of fighting games and a lot of live service games, I would say. And I would put Smash now in that category. So number three for me, and this is also one where people are going to be like, man, like Jay, you got some weird games on your Mount Rushmore. Metal Gear Solid 4 is my favorite Metal Gear Solid game. uh, Everybody usually goes with 3, and I could see why. 3 is one of the best stories and one of the best soundtracks in video games. But for me, Metal Gear Solid 4 is just my like definitive Metal Gear Solid game. When I think of gameplay, when I think of story, and I would say 4 is probably the hokiest out of all of them. But I just, it's my favorite one. And of course, like to round out my Mount Rushmore of video games, I'm going to go with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 as my number 4. I think out of that entire series, out of the number Xenoblade games, 3 is the best one. It offers the best gameplay. It offers the best soundtrack, in my opinion. The Mobius battle theme is still one of the greatest themes in gaming, regardless of what you say. And as you can probably like hear in this video, I'm listening to Redeem the Future, the complete version of it. So we'll go with that. All right, so let's go with 5 through 12 to round this out. I'm gonna leave Breath of the Wild as my 5th pick. So number 6, I'm actually gonna put Pokemon Crystal as my number 6. And let's just go straight into number 7. I don't really need to give reason why I put Pokemon Crystal there. It's Pokemon Crystal. If you've ever played it, you know why. Number 7 for me is going to be Uncharted. So I actually played Uncharted 1 and I didn't really like it too much. And then I was working at GameStop at the time Uncharted 2 was out. And one of my coworkers was like, oh man, even though you didn't like 1 that much, you got to play 2. 2 is just so great. 2 is one of those games where you play it and you're instantly like hooked. That train scene at the beginning, oh my gosh. I can't think of anything better in gaming. So, number 8, this is tough. Batman Arkham City. Very similar to Uncharted, just like the intro of that game. It hooks you from the very beginning. The scene where Hugo Strange is, kidnapping Bruce and takes him into Arkham City, and it's like what Batman wanted to do. Of course, like it's a Batman game. Like it ties very heavily into like that comic book feel, and playing it is like reading a comic book, but playing a comic book, if that makes any sense. Sorry, I'm recovering from being sick this week, so bear with me, guys. Number 9. Do I want to go another Xenoblade game? We're actually, I'm looking at the list right now. I'm going to go with another game that I logged a lot of hours into. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Oh, me and my little brother played a lot of this game growing up. And so it came out. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, dang, Sonic is on a Nintendo console? Like, what's going on? I thought Sonic was only on, like, at the time in my mind, I was Genesis and then Sega Saturn I knew about. I did not know the Dreamcast existed at the time, to be completely honest with you. Because it was, like, one of those things where it's like, it was here today and gone tomorrow. And I just, like, never, like, the internet wasn't really around back in 2000, 2001. It was around, but I didn't have access to it being 9 and 10 years old. So it came out on the GameCube. I saw it at the store. I had just gotten a GameCube for Christmas, I want to say in like 2002. And I was like, yo, that's like one of the games I want. I got Sonic Adventure 2. I got Super Smash Bros. Melee. And it was something else I got. I don't know if it was Sunshine or Luigi's. It wasn't Sunshine. It was maybe Luigi's Mansion. I know it was a Mario game. Can't remember which one though. Because I don't know. I didn't play it that much back in the day. Let's go with number 10. And, oh man. I'm going to throw Ghost of Tsushima as my number 10. Because during the pandemic, that's one of the games I remember playing. And I'm just like, I have wanted a Ninja Samurai Assassin's Creed game for the longest time, especially after playing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and we never got one, and I felt like Ghost of Tsushima was that. And my number 11, I want to leave Xenoblade in one of these spots. I just don't know which one. I love 2, even though it gets a lot of shit, and rightfully so. I mean, it's the weaker out of the trilogy, I feel like, but it's also the one that sold the best. And I think it's just because that first year, it was on the Switch, and everybody was buying Switch games pretty consistently, and they still are. But it was just that one where people saw it and they're like, oh man, okay, what's this new RPG? And people played it and got... your opinion of it is your opinion, and we'll leave it at that. I thought it was a very good game. I still love it. And looking back on it after playing 3 and playing the DLC of 3, like, it's still in my top, wherever it ends up on this chart. It's still going to be one of my favorite games, and one of those games that I have a lot of memories with, and I can relate to people who play that game a little bit differently, I feel like, just because I love that franchise. But I'm going to throw a racing game as my number 11, Burnout Paradise. Because who does video games? And number 12, we are going to put Xeno 1 because, much like 3, has a very, very strong story. So, let's go with the next 6. And Fire Emblem Awakening is going to take the 13th spot. And after that, for 14, I'm going to throw Astral Chain in there. Amazing game. If you haven't played it, please go do yourself justice and play that game. Even though you have to play as a cop, but you play as an anime cop, so it's not all that bad. Number 15, Pokemon Y. And why did I put Pokemon Y? It's my list. That's why I put Pokemon Y. And then I feel comfortable leaving Xenoblade 2 as number 16, to be honest with you. And to honestly like round out this row, I couldn't find like an actual image of Mega Man Battle Network, even though Battle Network 3 is the one I wanted to use, because honestly, that was the first Battle Network game I played was 3. And then, you know, after 3, I got 4, 5, and 6, and I went back and played 2 and 1. And I'm actually probably going to replay those games now that I have them on the Switch as well. So, yeah, let's leave, you know, this row right here, ending at Mass Effect 2 with number 18. Mass Effect 2, such a phenomenal game. And all honesty, I felt bad not having it higher, but if I would have played it more recently, it probably would have been a little bit higher. And I think some of these are recency bias, but whatever, it's my list. Number 19, I feel comfortable with leaving Tomb Raider 2013 at number 19, which also, if you haven't played it, please go play it, because, you know, Tomb Raider, I feel like that was the best one out of the newer trilogy. Rise of the Tomb Raider was really good as well, and Shadow was okay. I still really like Shadow. Shadow retained a lot of gameplay elements from the first two that I felt like carried over really well, and I felt it was actually a little bit faster and a little bit more fluid, like this list. Bayonetta 2. Yeah, I'm going to leave Bayonetta 2 at number 20. And Kirby Air Ride was another one where I felt a little bit bad not having it a little higher. And like I said, if I had some recency bias, well, I guess like I haven't played Pokemon Crystal or Sonic Adventure 2 in over 10 years at this point. So it's not really a lot of recency bias on this. Wind Waker, for sure, like should have been higher, and it's going to be higher. I'm actually going to put Wind Waker above Kirby Air Ride. I've played so much of Wind Waker. Like, I probably played it like 3 times on the GameCube, and I did play the HD version on the Wii U. And if it comes to the Switch at some point, which hopefully, I'll play it again. And then we can revisit this list and see if I'm putting Wind Waker above Tears of the Kingdom, even though probably not. Tears of the Kingdom does seem to have like a lack of water, though. I wonder what IGN would rate Wind Waker if it came to Switch. Because did Pokemon, the one that had too much water, get rated before or after Wind Waker? I have to look into that. So yeah, we'll leave Kirby Air Ride right here. We'll leave Split Second right here. Split Second was a crazy game. Like, you're driving through a movie set and shit's exploding, and like you're trying to like duck and dodge like the explosions. It was a fun game. This is one of my favorite PS3 multiplayer games. I'm going to throw Monster Hunter Rise right after Split Second. Even though, man, like, now I'm looking, I'm like, I wish I could have like put Monster Hunter a little bit higher. Because I love Rise. I didn't get into any of the Monster Hunter games up until Rise came out, which is crazy. Dang. I put so much time into Rise and Sunbreak. So, a little story about why I started my channel, actually. It wasn't just to have a channel called JT's Core Crystal because I love the Xenoblade franchise. Anybody who knows what a core crystal is, it's pretty much like the essence of like life in that game for the blades. And when I started my channel, I really wanted to come to this channel and tell my story as one, a gamer, a photographer, and as now a fitness coach. So I wanted to have the essence of my life be integrated in my channel, which I'm still working on and trying to figure out the structure of that. I played Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak after my second GI surgery. So I got my colon removed back in 2021. And if you know what that does to a person, you have to wear a colostomy bag. And I was overweight at the time. I was clocking in when I got my colon removed initially, around 300 pounds, a little bit heavier than that. And one of the nurses came in the room and she's like, yo, Jay, like, it would do you some good to lose some weight. And at the time, I didn't really like listen to what she was saying. I listened, but it didn't really hit me. And a couple of friends that came out to visit me later that summer, and we went and hiked up a mountain here in Colorado. And the entire time, I was just like holding them back. And I was holding them back because I was so out of shape. And I'll have to post pictures on this page. And I just look back at that moment where I was out of shape, hiked up the mountain, felt really bad for holding my friends back. And I had the initiative then to really work on myself and go into, hey, I really do need to lose some weight. One, because I don't want to wear this colostomy bag for the rest of my life. Two, it would just benefit me as an individual. So went on my fitness journey, studied, did a bunch of research. I was actually going to do bariatric surgery. Watched a video about it and saw, nah, this isn't for me. Like, I need to go about this and really like motivate myself and take full steam ahead with it. So literally from the end of September and still now, I have been really integrated into health and fitness and getting, that part of my life back on track. And Monster Hunter Rise came out after my second surgery, when they take a piece of the colon and like tie it and make the J pouch basically. And it really like helped me like get through both of my surgeries actually, because Rise initially came out right after my first surgery, and Sunbreak came out right after my second surgery. So I would literally like was off work just playing Monster Hunter like throughout both of those time periods, which was really good. It helped me like kind of like get over that a little bit. So shout out to Monster Hunter Rise. I wish I could put it a little bit higher, but I like my list where it's at. Let's move on. Phew. These last like two rows right here, like the games that I have down there, I wish I had more of a story about them, but Tekken Tag 2 I'm going to actually put right here. And the reason I'm putting Tekken Tag 2 is because like if you had a Wii U during that first couple of years, Tekken Tag 2 like got us through it, man. Like me and the homies, like we would just like get together in my apartment. And this was actually, I was living with Carson at the time. Carson is another mate of mine who is on Monday Night Mayhem, so you can check him out on Monday. And we played so much Tekken Tag 2. Like, all of us got really good at it. We had another homie who, he would come over and like, that was his like time to play Tekken Tag. And he played so much of it as well. He's not really like a huge fighting game fan, but got into fighting games through Tekken Tag 2. And he was always like, yo, like, let's run some matches. And we would hours of our time in college dedicated to Tekken Tag 2. So shouts out to Namco for that one. Ratchet and Clank Future, I wish they would bring these games back. I would buy a PS5 right now if they said, hey, we're remastering the Ratchet and Clank Future series, which is A Crack in Time, Tools of Destruction, and I think Quest for Booty, which Quest for Booty was a hilarious game. All the Ratchet and Clank games are hilarious in their own special way. So we're going to put that one right there. Golden Sun. I'm waiting for this to hit NSO. It was on that roadmap. Was it on the 2023 roadmap? We'll have to go back and look at that. And it's still not there. I checked before this video to see if Golden Sun was there, because I'm like, I just wrapped up Fire Emblem Houses 3 Hopes. It's the Warriors one. And I'm like, dang, I need something else to play. So I was looking for Golden Sun because I really wanted to play that. But I got Katana Zero, and I think that's going to be the next game that I actually like go through and play because I just hear phenomenal things about it. So Golden Sun is one of those that GBA game. I had a ton of GBA games. I had a lot of the Dragon Ball games. I had the Golden Sun games, and I thought when I saw Golden Sun for the first time, in all honesty, like you know how you can go Super Saiyan in Dragon Quest Eight. I thought Isaac was a Super Saiyan, so that's why I got it. Because you know Dragon Ball, I love Dragon Ball. Mario Galaxy 2, I also felt bad not having it higher, and it's gonna go above Need for Speed, and then in all honesty, Metroid Prime Hunters, another one of those multiplayer games where you play it with the homies and you know family. I had a cousin who was really big into it, and that's how I got into the Metroid franchise was through Prime Hunters. I didn't play Prime 1 until after I played Hunters, and I had a GameCube at the time too, so he had Prime Hunters. He's like, yo, like we can play this game, you don't even need the game, we can just play a couple multiplayer modes. So we played it, and I remember like enjoying it so much that Christmas that year I was like, yo, like this is like one of the games on my list that I wanted. And it's such a great game. I hope we get it back in some form or faction. And do I think it's a better game than Dread? No. I think Dread is a better game, but it's just the impact that Hunters had on me as a young adult, which is why I really like it. I'm going to put Tales of Vesperia to round out this row. I love Tales of Vesperia. I played it originally on the 360, but it wasn't the complete version. And I always wanted to experience the complete edition because I actually owned Vesperia on the 360, and I saw that it was on the PS3, but only in Japan. Like, we never got the English version of it. So I actually bought the Japanese version, and I like muscled through that game and just looked up like translation back in the day to like play it because I wanted Flynn's story as well. But that, yeah, we're going to round out that list there. This is tough because I got Dread and these three games here. How do you pick which one goes above these four games? Like, I still got Ori down here. All these games could be number one on any list. And I would not be mad at that. Like, if somebody hit me up and was like, yo, how do you not have Metroid Dread as your number one? I understand your case, but once again, it's my list. All right. If I wasn't a little bit of bias, but Nier Automata. Because I love Platinum Games, their gameplay style, and the story of Nier Automata is just insane. And then we're going to go with Dread right after that. And Dragon Quest. I'm just going to say it, the 35th game is going to be most wanted. Mainly because the only multiplayer you have in that game is online. There was no split screen or local multiplayer. If there would have been local multiplayer, it probably would have been a little bit higher, but Burnout Paradise didn't have local multiplayer either, but these two essentially are almost the same game. Except in this game you have fake cars, in this game you have actual licensed vehicles. Don't know how they got away with that, but they did. So we're leaving it there. Ori was another game that I played during the pandemic, which was a lot of fun, and man, yeah, that was a really like emotional trip of a game. I actually played both of those like during the pandemic time period. I played which one was it? Whatever the first one's name that I cannot remember at the time. I guess I could just look. I have it right here in front of me. Why am I wasting time looking up this game? Blind Forest. That's right. And then Will o' the Wisp is, I almost said Ori and the Witch of the Black Forest, but that would have been kind of combining the two names together. Yeah, like this is my list. And if you got a problem with it, you can take it up with me, Santa Claus, and other imaginary characters that have lists.